All right. Good day, everyone. Good afternoon. It is that time of the week again, and I'm excited to be here with no man other than Dex, the AlgoCapitalist. Every week we deliver the trading Terrordome, and V's not gonna be able to join today. He's tied up with other things going on as we continue to grow and expand Rogue Money, which there'll be further details come along. But excited to be with the Dex today with the trading Terrordome. So, Dex, how are you?
I am finding yourself, my man.
Well, I'm doing great. Never a dull moment. Always lots of interesting things going on. Trying to stay head above water and kicking frantically.
Ain't that the truth? I've been in the lab these past couple weeks, man, so I haven't had too much time to follow all of the news, and there's a ton of it coming out. But I have peeped little bits and pieces here and there. My main focus has really been on these markets because there's some humongous moves that are on the horizon, and it's going to take a
Yeah,
lot of
well,
people by surprise.
looks like it came up a little bit today. It looks like we had earnings from Caterpillar came in, and Caterpillar needed a good quarter. My gosh, they have been hemorrhaging. They've been bleeding out for the last at least year and a half, couple years, massive layoffs and everything. But it's hard to believe that between 3M and Caterpillar that they could shoot the market up. I think it closed up 100 basis points or something like that.
The Dow closed up 168 points today. The cash closed up 167.80 points. So yeah, 168 points. That's where you have it at. So the Dow is standing on the futures at 23,395. The cash is at 23,441.76. So that's where we are now. Um, and as far as the dollar has caught a whopping bid of 60 pips. Here it is at $93.94, and it is keeping the other currencies at bay for now. But here's a weird thing: the euro is up 22 pips as the dollar is up. Go figure.
Interesting.
That's not
Interesting.
supposed to. That's not supposed to happen.
Right. What's up with that?
You tell me. Can you say currency? Can you say currency manipulation? And as far as the bonds, now the strong bond, has been pushed all the way down to the 151 handle after being as high as the 157, 158 handle. So it's trading in a range right now. This is the lower end of the range. They needed to push the bonds down below that 155 level I've been telling you guys about for weeks now. Had to push it below that in order to open the door up for raising the interest rates without it doing irreparable harm to the markets. So it makes sense for them to do it now, and there's no really huge ramifications to it. The big issue is really not so much as rates right now. The big issue is the Fed's unwinding their balance sheet. Basically, what that means for the layman, it means that the Fed would be dumping shares on the market, thus putting an end to the stock market rally and thus crashing the market if they do it too fast. All right, so that's basically what the whole debate is really about. And so the Fed is realizing it cannot unwind its balance sheet because if the Fed is long the market and this rally has, bubbled up to where it is now, guess what? They don't want to lose money. So I think they're going to wait until the bubble pops, per se, and then they'll dump all their stuff on the market. And so what you'll have is a prolonged type of a flash crash. And then at that point, we'll see where things go from there. But that's kind of the plan right now. As far
Right.
as
Right.
dry ships, people have been talking about dry ships. Dry ships has gone the way of the VIX. Totally irrelevant. It means absolutely nothing. Sorry to say that, but it means nothing. Yes, I know it's one of those indicators that cannot be massaged and manipulated like all the others, but guess what? It means absolutely nothing. It's been ignored now since 2009. All right.
Hmm.
It lost its relevancy back then, 2008, 2009. So there you have it. And your standard indicators that come with basic charting packages and The things that your professor taught you in business school, things like that, or economics class, guess what? They're all irrelevant. They don't matter anymore. We're not under the old paradigm. We're under a new one. All right, totally new. Everything is algorithms and artificial intelligence. Human beings have been taken out of the equation. That's why you see the markets behaving the way they behave. They're not behaving like irrational people are involved. They're behaving like musical instruments playing to a certain tune. And if you don't know that, well, you're going to be confused and you'll even become agitated because things won't make sense to you because they haven't made sense for an extremely long period of time. And even though you can see wide swings in the market, like Bitcoin, for example, hitting 6,000 and then falling down to like 55 or 5,200, that's huge. That's humongous. But that's volatility. Why? Because you have some things stirring the pot. It's not just 100% algorithmic trading like you would think it is. Nope. It is institutions and other pseudo-government agencies involved in the crypto space that are trying to, how can I say this in a nice way? They're trying to mess it up. And they can't beat them, and they refuse to join them, so they have to try to take them down. And that's what's happening. And everything that they've been doing so far has failed. It's only made the markets go higher. So every time they bring down the crypto space, it comes right back up again. They can't keep it down. So that's a good thing for the people and independence. But at the end of the day,
absolutely,
competition, though, lowers prices. You got to remember that. Without competition, then you have Ma Bell all over again. Competition breeds lower prices. So right now, there's really no competition to the space other than the space itself. For instance, you got Bitcoin, and then everything else is considered an altcoin. The altcoins are kind of like competing against the Bitcoin for supremacy. What's going to end up happening is the governments and powers of the world would like for it to feed on itself. They want to come up with their own and hopefully have their system be superior and do away with the other system, but it's not so easy and cut and dry as that. So, and they know this. So they have been doing, if you can't beat them, join them in the background. While they're working to do their own thing, they've been joining the boat and buying up altcoins and Bitcoins. And that's why you see the markets being pushed around the way they are, because they have their algorithms on deck and they're pushing the markets around with them. So that's what's been going on in the market of markets. Other than that, we have a whole lot of other things going on, which
you had some good intel. I listened to your pre-market show this morning, and good intel on your show. You want to break that information down?
If I can remember what I said. No, I
think there may have been potential alerts that were flashing.
Yeah, I keep it a buck, man. I don't my stuff is not scripted. The only thing that I do that's scripted is when I do my documentaries. I have to actually write out my thoughts, or they'll be all over the place. But my pre-market poll scans and end-of-day reports, there's nothing scripted. It's just coming fresh off the dome. I'm reading whatever I'm getting from the algos and just giving it to you just like that. So, nah. I don't. I can't always remember. I know the gist of what I was saying this morning was to beware of the intraday volatilities, because we were getting some sell signals in most of the stock indexes. Now it's funny because if you look at the XIV, it dropped from 111 down to 107, and guess what? It closed down $1.34 at 107.86. So you had that pop, like I warned, and then what did you have? You had the market quickly reverse. At the time I gave out the warning, the market wasn't even open yet. Just like last week, I gave out warnings as well, and I had a there were two case studies, but I did one, and I don't remember what it was now. I don't know if it was in video or the XIV. It was one of them. And I was showing how the algorithms were pushing the prices around and that we had these key price inflection points that you needed to look out for. And what ends up happening is as markets get to a certain peak, they begin to plateau. Once the plateau comes into place, that's usually when a top is being formed. So then you have one more push up, and then you have a quick reversal down like you did in silver back in 2011. In April of 2011, you had this incredible explosive price movement up toward the $50 mark, followed by a massive bearish engulfing candle on the next bar that totally wiped all of that out. So silver gave back a huge chunk. We're talking like months worth of profits in a day. And that's kind of the same setup I'm seeing here in the stock indexes. So you gotta be mindful of that. Where does Bitcoin and all that fit into here? Well, I gave alerts on those too. I told everyone to watch out because I was seeing selling programs coming in, to bear on that as well. And since then, as we're talking, Bitcoin is down almost 5%, trading at the 5,600 level. That's quite a few bucks from 6,000. So you're seeing the key reversals. And here's the funny thing that I've been telling you. If you look at the altcoins, they're all up about 5%. So the altcoins are starting to act in an inversion type of a ratio where if the Bitcoin is up, they'll be down. And then when the Bitcoin is down, they'll be up. I don't know how long this price pattern will last. Normally, they all move together. If Bitcoin's up, they're going to be up too, and vice versa. But right now, it's totally different. They're starting to act the opposite way. So it's that feeding on each other mentality that I spoke of at the beginning of the show. And now you're starting to see that creep in the price action in the crypto space. And you won't hear anyone else talking about that except on the Rogue Money Show.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, interesting point. Now, in regards to the Bitcoin and the big cold, I mean, there's a little bit of concern regarding the split. So I'm not exactly sure what's driving that price down. I think I purchased Bitcoin at a low of like 33, 35.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna hold steady for a little bit longer and see what the future entails. But it definitely an interesting space to be in right now, just because of the volatility. Definitely agree with that.
Well, if you're playing with the house's money, which sounds like you are, just go ahead and set a stop somewhere in there so you can lock in some profit, just in case the thing does pull back harder or goes into a full-blown, temporary bear market. You don't want to turn your winning position into a losing one. So if your cost base is at the 3,000 mark, here we are at 5,600, you have a nice little cushion in there that you can allow for price to pull back and hold your position. But once you get down to 4,500, that's when you need to start thinking, okay, where am I going to lock in some profit at this point? Like for you, I wouldn't let it drop, below 4,000 on me. You got to lock in some kind of profit. And it just depends on how things go. As far as the forks and all these things, we've had how many forks now? I've lost count. Splits and forks and all this other stuff.
Yeah, Bitcoin Cash, right? That was the most recent, and then Bitcoin Gold. So that'll be the second one.
And as you can see, it doesn't matter. They make a big deal of the forks, and then what happens? The prices go higher. So right now, nah, I don't really see anything to be concerned about with the fork. But then again, we'll let the price action worry for us. That's the best way to go about it. Let the prices tell you what's going on. And when you get these warnings, like these crash alerts that I was giving out earlier, you got to pay attention to them. Now it doesn't mean that things are going to happen immediately. Sometimes it happens as soon as I give the alert out, boom, the market's already moving. But there are times where I always let people know the indicators can lead the market 3 to 5 bars out. So on a daily, from a daily perspective, that's 3 to 5 days out. From a weekly perspective, that's 3 to 5 weeks out. So it can happen anytime from the moment I give the alert to 3 to 5 bars. Now, as far as up to the minute, up to the moment that something is happening, you won't know that unless you are a premium subscriber to the Black Ops Trading Room, because they give the real times. Anything that's real time, I always post it in the trading room first. I don't have time to make videos to do that. But right now, it's still sky's the limit, man. Nothing has changed in these markets. These crash alerts are not necessarily trend changes. It just means that there's some selling coming in. Maybe a big institutional trader wants to take some profit. You never know why the individuals behind the algorithms have decided to buy or sell something, and it doesn't matter. Well, the only thing that matters is the price and what happens to the price once that event is realized. For example, news came out about China pulling out of the Bitcoin, right? Well, that's been proven to be false, but at the time that the news was given, the markets reacted and Bitcoin and all the altcoins and things got crushed, right? And then when it came out that it was all foolishness, what happened? The markets recovered and hit new highs. So it's the same type of perspective. You can know some news, but you don't know how the markets are going to necessarily respond to that news. Sometimes markets rally on devastating news. Sometimes they crash on good news. It just depends. And you don't know that unless you know how to read and follow the algorithms. They tell you what's happening. They alert you based on the price action. So right now,
Right.
it's all good.
Yeah, no doubt an interesting week. Several blue chips set to announce earnings, and you're exactly right. It's amazing to see how when they announce those earnings, how much it can fluctuate in terms of the market. I do want to ask you a little bit around, you had mentioned the Fed, and then also specifically in regards to the tax plan. And the only reason that I'm going there, Dex, is because I have a little bit of a theory.
Okay, go for it.
Trump keeps advocating not only for a grace period, a lower tax for a lot of companies to bring a lot of offshore accounts. Apple, several of these companies have all these offshore profits hidden. They don't want to bring it stateside, right, to avoid taxes. But then he's also specifically talking about lowering the corporate tax rate. Now, do you really think? Now, my thought is this: is that I don't think America, the public, is going to stomach a whole lot for a lot more bailouts for the companies. If they spent the last several years basically rolling back any of their profits, putting it directly into their stock to inflate their stock price, what do you think is going to happen when corporations are allowed to lower their tax rates? Are they going to take those funds? Are they going to, everyone keeps thinking, oh, they're going to invest in jobs and and new technologies and everything. Do you think they're going to do that, or do you think they're just going to roll it back into their coffers like they've done the last few years, Dex?
Absolutely not. I think they are going to reinvest that money. Absolutely. They are. They're going to reinvest the money, and they're going to use that money to create, I wanted to say hundreds of thousands, but it's going to be more like millions of jobs. Remember, I predicted that over a year ago. I talked about how the new platform would be creating jobs out of thin air. It's like they printed money out of thin air. They're going to create millions of jobs. Millions of jobs. But for the lucky individuals who are listening to this program, you're about to find out and hear why that is a horrendous consequence to the individual. For the first time in American history, more jobs are about to be created than ever in our lifetime. But here's the kicker. There's always a kicker. These jobs will not be for you and I, nor will they be for the foreigner or the illegal immigrant or legal immigrant. They're not for you at all. They're for algorithms. They're going to be hiring and building machines, computers, and artificial intelligence algorithms. That's who the job positions are going to. The robots, ladies and gentlemen. Robots. More and more information has been coming out in these last 2 weeks about cyborgs and artificial intelligence than I've ever heard before. Ever. What did we hear? We heard Putin saying that he has super cyborg type soldiers. We heard someone in the trading room today brought it to my attention. There is a cyborg artificial intelligence ETF. I just had to add it to the post waves. So it's going to be on there tonight. I didn't even
Oh,
know
sweet.
that thing existed. The ticker
Nice.
symbol is B as in boy, O as in Oscar, T as in Tom, Z as in zebra. Bots. All right. Robotic ETF. Unbelievable. Now, I've been warning and telling everyone about the rise of the cyborgs and the sex bots and things of that nature. Well, they're really pushing it. You got people, now before he died, Steve Jobs was into that too. So is Bill Gates and this Elon Musk dude. This Elon Musk dude, he is really, really hardcore into that. They want to bring this immediately. They don't want to have to wait 20 years from now. They want this stuff done within 5 years. Now, with that being said, you would think that as they're building that they would start to roll out quicker to the universal income. Well, that is exactly what they've been doing. They've been putting that more out in the mainstream media, getting you used to the idea, getting you used to hearing the terminology, because that's what's coming down the pike. I'm gonna give you an example of just how powerful the mainstream media is at socially engineering the thoughts of the masses long before the masses can become acclimated to the thought. Case in point, in 2008, actually started it. I think it started in 2007, late 2007, early 2008, long before the revelation of the financial crisis. They started running ads on TV, but mostly on radio. These ads hit the radio first here in the DMZ. I'm sorry, the DMV. I said DMZ. DMV, DC, Maryland, Virginia area.
I
And
gotcha,
these
gotcha, gotcha.
these wow, Freudian slip, right? These ads were not for jobs. They weren't for, selling toothpaste, sneakers, and cars. No, these were ads for food stamps. Never in my lifetime had I ever heard an advertisement for social services, for food stamps and SNAP benefits and TANF. I've never heard advertisements on the radio or TV making poverty in vogue. But yes, they were. And they ran these ads hard body karate. And this is before the revelation of the crash. This was at the
Mm.
height of the housing market. Now, what are they doing now? All right, this is 2.0. Here we go. Now they're getting you conditioned to the universal income. Now, you would think that once this rolls out, that they would do away with taxation, income taxation altogether, because in this case, the government will be taxing themselves, right? The
Right,
government's giving
right.
you a money and then they're taxing it. All right. No, that's the big question mark, because to my understanding, word on the street is that has not been done away with. There's nothing on the books to do away with that. So it's really odd. I don't think they know really what they're doing. They're so in a panic to push this agenda forward that they're not thinking about all the little things, how these different pieces are going to fit in together. All right. So the next thing is this. Now, this is weird to me. I talked about it a long time ago, though, and I haven't touched on it ever again until now. I'm going to touch on it now.
How deep the rabbit hole we going?
We going crazy deep.
All right, let's hear it. Let's hear it.
Word on the street is there is a push within the rankings of the shadow government. I don't know how they're going to do it, but they've been talking about it, and it's real talk. Some kind of way bringing Obama back. Now, I don't know how they can. I mean, they can do anything they want to do. They can create legislation that says it's perfectly legal to do this, but there's talk about bringing Obama back. Now, I don't know if they're going to try to bring him back as president. That would be really weird, but I think there's something going on with Obama. That's all I got to say. Something huge. And this was talked about a while back, and then it kind of like died down, but now they're starting to talk about it again. It's a lot of weirdness going on, folks. And in this
These are
same
strange
vein,
times indeed. Absolutely.
no, this is real talk. I'm not just. I'm telling you guys. When I say things, I know people shake their heads like this dude is crazy, and then it comes out down the line, and people forget that I mentioned it to you first. All right, let's see what else is going on here. I'm telling you all the rumblings and ramblings that are coming back.
Well, no, real quick on your job analysis and in terms of the savings in terms of the tax rate and everything else. Definitely, investment in the technologies, automation, robotics. I choose not to go there too often, but one of the grocery regional chains here in the Midwest recently closed, and I think at one time they were up to like 250 units, but it's just been so competitive in grocery. They're high volume, very low margin to Walmart. And Dex, I'm not kidding you. This was prime time Sunday afternoon, and there must have been probably 25, 30 people in line. And when I looked up, of course, the Walmarts have their 30, checkouts across the
Right?
across the front of the store, right? Guess how
Mm-hmm.
many people that they actual bodies that they had working those check stands, those registers?
How many?
Two,
Hmm?
two, two people running those registers. And what they have done, and I'm sure they'll retrofit all their locations to do this, they created a self-service checkout quadrant that is a secured area, one
Mm-hmm.
way in, one way out.
Mm-hmm.
And across this little makeshift square area, there's probably at least probably 12 or 15 self-checkout areas, and then they have one person just standing there monitoring and making sure everything is. And they had just basically corralling people into these self-service checkout areas. Now, I know that they've been around for a while, but ideally, typically you don't see big mass merchants like Walmart doing that, right? Typically you see that in some smaller grocery stores, some, retail, maybe pharmacies, but for a mass retailer to be doing this, wow, that was pretty eye-opening.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that. Yes, I know what you're saying. They have it out here too, except for it's divided into two sections. Since Walmart is, the super Walmarts are so huge, you have one at the far right hand side of the store and one group on the far left hand side of the store, because you have two entrances on each side. So yes, there's a group of terminals in each one, and you have one human being over each side. Yes, I know exactly what you're talking about. And some of the grocery stores have them too. Not all of the grocery stores have them, but some of them have it where you got the self checkout, and then others don't. They haven't been upgraded, retrofitted, like you said. Yeah, and that's the talk too. After Amazon bought Whole Foods, that's the talk too, that, okay, they're going to be, robotic stores because they already have them out in the West. And so, yeah, that's coming. That is coming. Um, it's coming. I've seen like 7-Elevens and even gas stations where they have kiosks where you come in, you don't place an order with a person standing at a register. They have this kiosk and you order your sandwich or whatever it is you want, everything you want on it and everything. And then it will be made for you. You get a ticket and then it'll be made for you. Your food will come up and then you just take it to the counter and pay for it.
Right. Yep. I've seen that as well, and I think we'll only see that continue. So it'll start. I know Panera has rolled that out. Panera has a couple of self order checkout systems, but I imagine, as we continue to move forward, we will see that implemented across several different, possibly even sit down restaurants, right? That and they already have some of that. Those little machines they say, well, if you want to order your food from there, you can.
Right.
And it's all built around streamlining, getting the human capital, getting the human labor out of this. So I just want to add that in. And then in terms of the universal income, I think you're right. I think that is pointing a lot of things that will be coming in the future. You have globalists, people like Mark Zuckerberg from Facebook out there at commencement speeches, advocating, sitting there specifically saying that, listen, there needs to be a universal income, that we need to pay people between $1,000 and $2,000, because I think that's what this economy is doing. I think that's driving it, that there will be a good sector of the population at some point that won't be able to work, because those jobs that used to exist 5, 10, 15 years ago, Dex, they won't be there. They won't be there at all.
No, there's a lot of jobs that are being done away with. I just heard recently somewhere I think it's in banking or something, where they're doing away with human beings. And more of the like Goldman Sachs and JP Morgan offices are doing away with human beings also. Totally doing away with human beings. I remember the first bank that they did a pilot on back in the 90s. This was a bank that had no tellers. All right, full service bank.
Yeah.
It was all kiosks inside of the bank, no human beings, and that's what it was. You just go, you push the buttons, and that was it. And it lasted maybe a year or two, and then I didn't see it no more. So I knew they were just testing to see, what was what. But yeah, a lot of things are going to be bought that way. Now, I have to say something to the listeners. I need everybody to grasp what I'm saying. I know it's going to take a while for you to understand this, but it is what it is, okay? All right. The people that run the world and run the countries, all right, whether it be the Fed, the central banks, all of that stuff, all the banksters, okay, they realize something that the world doesn't realize. Human beings don't know this. They know it, and they're always laughing about it. Money doesn't exist, folks. People always ask, oh, how are you going to finance? How are you going to pay for all these things? How are you going to pay for bridges and roads? And how are you going to do this? And how are you going to do that? Folks, money does not exist. That's why they can, quote unquote, print money for whatever they want. They haven't printed money in decades, folks. Why do you think the Federal Reserve has been burning more and more physical fiat paper money? They're trying to get as much of it out of the system as possible, because it's going to be no longer in use very shortly. It's all going to be electronic. Now, money does not exist, folks. Money does not exist. Money does not exist. Money does not exist. Money never existed, folks. Money never existed. Money never existed. Money never existed. Tell you what does exist: power.
Power and
exists.
debt.
Debt does not exist. You have to understand the way these people think. I'm trying to give it to you guys. Money and debt does not exist. It never existed. The only thing that existed was power and force. The only reason why you trade in dollars is because you fear the force if you don't. All of it is backed by force. If money really existed, it would never need to be backed by force because it would have intangible attributes to it that no one could deny or do away with. Case in point, even though gold and silver has been money for thousands of years, all right, we'll use that as an example. Prior to its use, it was not considered valuable to a lot of tribes and people. They was like, what am I going to do with this? We don't use this. This is nothing to me. Okay. Same thing. If I go and I have a wheelbarrow full of $100 bills and I give it to the pigs and the hogs at the farm down the road, you know what they're going to do with it? Some of them will try to eat it. Others will just waddle in it and get it all muddy and rip it apart and poop and pee on it. Because it's worthless to them. They're like, what am I going to do with this? I'm a pig. We don't use this. And yet a pig is still fat. All right? Hogs and pigs are fat and they don't spend money and they don't make money. Birds of the air don't have jobs, but each and every one of them are fat. Okay? Money is a creation of man used to control other people and to rob and rape and pillage for natural resources and for booty. All right? That is why money was created. All right. Yes, I understand it's used as a means of exchange. It's better than the bartering system, yada, yada, yada. I understand that. But you don't understand its greater purpose, has a greater purpose than that. That greater purpose is control. All right. They use money to create debt as a means of control. They don't care if you can't ever pay them back. They'll just come and take what they want from you, which is the reason why they gave it to you in the first place. Okay? It's backed by force. If the rest of the world, every country on the planet decided tonight in a national broadcast live from CNN, this just in, the UN has just voted unanimously to no longer deal with US dollars of any kind. It would not be accepted in any other country ever again. Thank you for your time. Have a nice day. What would that do to our economy? It would implode only because it was used as a means and mode of control. Once that is no longer a factor of means for control, then it loses its power. Okay? If no one on the planet accepted gold and silver, it too would be worthless. It's only backed by the force behind it, folks. Now, I've beaten that horse into the ground and laid the foundation for you. Now you should be, if you can understand what I just said, you should also be able to understand how it's possible to print trillions of dollars in debt and all the nations of the earth are still standing. All right? They can do this ad infinitum forever because it doesn't exist. It's just zeros and ones. And it could be erased or eradicated or forgiven at any time. Just understand that too. All right? So the person with the biggest military and power and force and bombs and whatnot is the one that makes the rules. So they can use whatever they want. They can build a society. And I saw this on Black Mirror, and I thought it was awesome. Black Mirror on Netflix. They had an episode where people didn't have jobs and stuff. It was all based on social media. So it depended on how many likes and stuff you had and what level you were. So where you lived depended on what your ratings were on social media. What kind of car you drove depended on your level in social media. And people ranked from like 1, 2, 3, 4, like that. Level fives were elite. Level fours were like the upper middle class, if you will. And then anything below a four, like a three, was just average. But if you start hitting the twos and the ones, you were a nobody and you were basically blacklisted from society. All right. And people, I think that went over a lot of people's heads. They were trying to show you that it is possible to build a society without using the old means of exchange. All right. As the society will work as long as you agree to accept these Fruit Loops for that new PlayStation you got. The economy will go around and around because Fruit Loops is used as a medium of exchange. Well, they can also build a society where there is no medium of exchange. They can make it so that they are the ones giving it to you. It's sort of like a socialism on steroids, or socialism / communism on steroids, where the the government provides everything that you need, so you don't need anything. Does that make sense? It's crazy, I know, but that's where we're headed, folks. That's what they want. Because then when the government's the one that's doing things, everyone's beholden to them, everyone will fear them, everyone will worship them, everyone will be in check. Right now, everyone is not in check because everyone is not beholden to the government. And they realize that the easiest way to control people now is not through fear, but through love. Let the government love you. Let the government set you up and take care of you. Universal income. You don't have to worry about, I don't have a job. You can now use this universal income to go and get the things that you need from day to day.
Yeah,
All right.
become obedient to the government, right?
Yes. Think about it. How many people are going to be protesting in the streets when the government's the one giving you your food? The government's
That's
giving
why
you
so
your
many people
money
fight
and
to
giving you
defend
your
it
life.
right now, right? That's why so many people try to protect the system right now.
Well, yeah. Well, I'll go another method. Those individuals who are part of the entertainment Illuminati, they don't speak out. They go along with it because the system is blessing them. It's taking care of them. It's feeding them. They're living lavish lifestyles, living in mansions and driving Bugattis and Rolls Royces and dressing in the finest clothes and diamonds and gold and jewelry. And they get to go on extravagant vacations, and they're famous. Their faces everywhere, and they get to go to all the balls and galas and BET awards and all this other stuff. So they're not going to bite the hand that feeds it. They're going to be slow to do that. The only people who come out of it and speak out against it are those who wake up and decide they don't want to be a part of it anymore. And most of them ended up dying anyway. And the ones that don't are just relegated to the back pages of society, and you forget about them. Okay. It's the same principle, except for they're going to roll it out nationwide. Instead of just leaving it limited to the entertainment industry, now they're going to have it for the society as a whole. So that is the map, if you will. That's where they're going. It's the only thing to keep the people in control and in line, because you're taking the jobs away and replacing them with cyborgs, so, and algorithms. So how are you going to take care of the people? Well, they've learned through history that you can't say let them eat cake, because then they will overtake you, and then every individual will become its own Al Qaeda cell or ISIS cell, and it'll be impossible for you to control that, right? So make them love you. Everyone loved Obama, right? Make them love you. All right.
Yeah, it was interesting also to witness a little bit about what happened in Spain in regards to, Catalonia, right? When Spain started to crack down on their big, nationalist movement to freedom, the people that were leading the freedom movement for the Catalan, they specifically told those people to go take their money out of the bank. They're like, okay, if they're going to crack down, if they're going to remove our parliament to knock down, to take out our movement for independence, then we're going to hurt them in the wallet. So they started withdrawing their money from the banks, creating, runs on the bank there
Mm-hmm.
in Catalan. What if what if we did the same? What if the cryptocurrencies or the precious metals? What if we had a day where we said, you know what, we're not going to be compliant anymore. We're going to take and whatever you can afford, whatever that is, and we choose one day that we stop, uh, allowing the puppet masters. We take the money out, put it in the cryptocurrency space, put it metals, whatever you want to. But the goal is to get it out of the system.
Well, that would backfire though, and I'll tell you why. And they already know this. I see where you're going, but there's something you missed. Let's say we did that right now as we're talking. Everyone's under the sound of our voices when we did that, right? Guess what? That money still has to be exchanged into the base currency, which is the dollar. And tell you what I mean. The only way, not every place accepts the Bitcoins, all right? But there are debit cards and things you can get so that you can exchange the coinage for the base currency to go and buy and sell. All right.
Yeah.
So in effect, it still would not have the effect you would want it to have, is what I'm trying to say. It would have an effect in that it would just give them the ammunition to lock it down. You feel me?
Yeah, there's already banks threatening that. I think it may have just been a rumor, but I heard that PNC was speculating that any person that was buying Bitcoin with their accounts and so forth, that PNC was going to close their accounts.
Yeah, see, they could do that. See, they know that they can hurt you. It's not too much you can do to really hurt the giant right now, that is the government. And you can't reform it from within either. It's impossible. This is an engine that is impossible. The ship is too big to turn. There is no solution, folks. The solution was decades ago, where we dropped the ball, folks. We dropped the ball. We've been given several opportunities.
What specifically?
Yeah, I'm gonna break it down for you. I'm glad you asked that. Okay. Now, remember, the society we're in today. You need to understand something. It's light years from yesterday's society. See, we have smartphones and internet and stuff now, and YouTube, right? So word spreads instantaneously now. People can come together through social media now. You couldn't do that before 20 and 30 and 40 and 50 years ago, right? But we still dropped the ball, folks. We dropped the ball. I'll tell you why. I'll tell you how. All right? We dropped the ball because when the Vietnam War came out and you had the radical 60s going on and you had all types of social movements going on, that was the key moment, the chance that the people could have really come together and said, no, we're not going to have this. We're going to put a stop to it. But they couldn't, because the people were so divided over racism. All right? They couldn't come together as a whole. And there were too many things going on behind the scenes that they couldn't even deal with it. The government, the powers that be, the system that was in place was more powerful than the people as a whole and light years ahead of them. Case in point, when you had all you had the Black Panther parties and all the civil rights leadership doing what they were doing good, but they didn't know that Operation COINTELPRO was in full effect. So they were easily manipulated, penetrated, overtaken from within, and then they got rid of them and they imploded and they assassinated every civil rights leader at that time. The people accepted the assassination, fear gripped everybody, and what happened? It died out. It went away. And never again has there ever been a movement as powerful as that civil rights movement, or as the anti-war demonstration with Lyndon Johnson and all of that. We have never, ever seen another movement as powerful as what we had in the 60s. We had a chance when the Tea Party thing came out. Tea Party came out. It gathered steam. It was amazing. People were coming together, and look how quickly the government came in and infiltrated and shut it down. Not only did they just infiltrate, they didn't really shut it down. They infiltrated it and reprogrammed it and redirected it
with
until it just
politicians, right?
imploded. And then it imploded. Yeah, seriously. So
yeah, I agree. That the whole silver everything was so on message. Yeah, I completely agree. And then
I'm laying a
in regards to
foundation
the
here.
Tea Party and that same energy is starting to come alive now. And it's like you take a look at the existing system, and it's not a matter of fixing the system, Dex. It's a matter of ending the system and evolving to something new.
See, that's my point. I'm laying a foundation here so you guys can see that there's nothing you can do. It's been tried, and everything that's been tried has failed. Let's keep it going. You had the Ron Paul movement, audit the Fed. Remember that? That gained all types of traction. Now that had the government on its heels. They were shook. They were scared to death. The shadow government was like, "Oh my goodness, we cannot let these secrets out." Next thing you knew, without warning, you saw Ron Paul come on TV and say, "You know what? I decided I don't want to audit the Fed anymore, and I decided I'm not running for office anymore." Because he got that phone call. He got that JFK phone call. We laughing, but he got that JFK phone call. All right, so you saw what happened with that, and it was okay. Then we had this other. Then we had another movement. We had the whole 9/11 thing, right? We Are Change and all the other movements. 9/11, 9/11, 9/11. What happened? The media, they said, okay, this is a job for the media. We need the media on this one. So the media came in. One of the first things the media did, which was so powerful, I've never seen a mind control sci-fi operation so quickly implemented and so powerful in my life. And here it went. They said it is unconstitutional, unpatriotic to short the financial markets in light of 9/11. Do you know everybody on Wall Street listened? And as a result, the market turned on a dime after the S&P 500 hit 932 intraday. Yeah, the S&P 500 at one point was 932, not sitting here where we are now, folks, at 2,500.
Mm-hmm.
All right, real quick, but I don't want Brandy to get me. Brandy, as I've said before, there is no solution. It's too late. Every solution that has been tried has failed. There is no solution. There is no solution. And when I say there's no solution, what I mean is that no matter what people say and do, everything they've tried to do has failed. Do you remember Max Kaiser's let's crush JP Morgan and buy up silver?
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
today silver is at
energy.
$15.96. So where did that go? Every movement you can name and throw at me has failed. Every movement. Even Jesse the Body Ventura had the most incredible TV show I've ever seen called Conspiracy. Ran some amazing episodes. He went so far down deep in that rabbit hole. Next thing you know, his show was pulled without notice and without warning. They just pulled it. And they deleted off the internet the episode on 9/11, and I think, what is it, the Skinwalkers? It's 2 episodes they deleted. You can't find it.
Remember that? Yeah, yeah.
All right.
Yep.
So everything that people tried to do is getting crushed. And I'll tell you why. You ready for this? Because you're dealing with forces that are greater than you. People need to understand that we are under darkness, a spirit of darkness, a satanic system. And The only thing that can destroy a satanic system is the Most High himself. Now, let that marinate for a minute. All right. The weapons of our warfare are not carnal. All right. They are spiritual. You're trying to, you know, throw rocks at a ghost, shoot bombs and missiles at a ghost. You're doing nothing to that ghost except making it laugh at you. All right. Look at it. Look at it this way. I'm gonna give you. I'm gonna take it on home with this home run right here, just to show you just how powerful this satanic system is. Since the 1940s, the world has never been told the truth about the UFO phenomenon. The government has kept that 100% secret. There's been no disclosure. People talk, oh, disclosure. There will be no disclosure. Okay, finally, the 50 years are up now, and now the truth about JFK is coming out. It's being declassified. It is not. Don't you think they already cooked the books before they even made this hid
Oh
it away?
yeah.
Come on, folks. They're not going to reveal you nothing. All right? You're not going to know the truth. They're never going to come out and say it. All right? So, people, please understand you're dealing with spiritual forces right now, and you're not going to be told the truth ever. And there's nothing you can do about it. This satanic system is too big and too powerful, and no one person can do anything about it. And the people are not going to do anything about it either, because the people themselves have fallen. All right, you need to understand that, folks. When you say people, we're not just talking about us in this radio show. We're talking about the masses of the community of human beings as a whole. You can't get 10 people in a room to agree on nothing. How you gonna get the 200 million, 400 million people in America to agree on anything, or the 7 billion people on the planet to agree on anything? It's not. All right. Satan is the ruler of this world. All right. This planet is ruled by spiritual forces and powers and principalities and high places. You need to understand that. And this has been revealed to the people time and time again, but the people laugh and don't want to hear it. People don't want to hear it. If you say the word ghost to a person, they'll laugh you to shame. You say, I seen a ghost. I seen a cryptid. I seen Bigfoot. I seen this or seen that, or I've been haunted before, or this. People will laugh you to shame. Oh, I've been abducted by aliens. Or I've seen an alien. I've seen a UFO. They will laugh you to shame, because they have been conditioned by the same system to tell you that it doesn't exist. They tell you that ghosts and demons and witches and warlocks don't exist. Aliens don't exist. UFOs don't exist. They've even made people believe that God doesn't exist, that Jesus never existed, and that we come from a Big Bang and primordial sludge. Well, where did the Big Bang come from? Where did the primordial sludge come from? Okay, fine. Well, we have now learned that all that was wrong. The truth is we were planted here by alien seeds. Wait, hold on. You said there was no aliens. Which is it? You can't have both. All right. So they got people believe in all types of myths. I can't believe we live in a day and age where we have to debate flat Earth. Come on, people.
Yeah,
So
there's still a lot of people asleep. I completely agree.
well, it's not even asleep. It's twisted. It's a mind melding, mass hypnosis experiment that's been going on, and they're sitting back laughing at you. They're laughing at everybody because they're showing you just how powerful they are. There is a spirit of deception that has entered into our world. it's
Yeah,
a powerful spirit of deception, and
yeah.
you ain't seen nothing yet. It's about to get a lot worse, especially when this artificial intelligence comes out. It's gonna
I
blow
think the
people
battle,
away.
yeah, the battle of good and evil has always existed, and there's no reason to fear it if you're right with faith. That's all you truly need at the end of the day. Anything else is irrelevant, no matter what happens in this lifespan. Is remaining strong in faith. There is no doubt that we are witnessing that unfold, that battle that does exist, and that dark world is real. No doubt about that. But I truly believe that there are some spiritual awakening that is occurring. Is it too late? Yeah, one definitely could argue that. But at the end of the day, as long as you remain strong in faith, I think it's all irrelevant.
Well, see, here's the thing, though. The only revival that is happening is in the individual, not in this satanic system. So you're right. People can wake up to the truth and have spiritual awakening, but that's still not going to change the satanic system. The satanic system is only getting worse, and it fears for its own safety. So the only way to protect itself is to control the people even more. And how do you do that? You do it with all types of hypnosis. You do it through the mass media. You do it through television and movies and music and media. And you keep the narrative going. And then you'll have people hating the president for no reason. They told you who to love. They told you to love Obama, and you loved Obama. Now they're telling you to hate Trump, and you hate Trump. You never even met the man. You don't even know him, and you're saying, I hate him. How can you hate someone you've never met? You can say, I don't like their policies, but then you should be able to explain what their policies are and then explain why you disagree with them and then be able to explain a better alternative. Most people do not know how to argue correctly or to debate a thing like that. So they just say, I hate him. And they start defaming the individual, calling the individual names, silliness, foolishness, nonsense. That's what
Right.
we got right now. And it's sad. And it's only going to get worse. I'm telling you, people don't hear me. People have been lured asleep, but it's gone beyond sleep now. Now you're under the delusion, you're under the hypnosis, and you're knocked out. You're totally under the control. You have been possessed by the spirit of confusion. All right, that's what's going on right now, and it's only going to become darker as time goes on. It's going to get darker, and the wars and the rumors of wars are coming. See, the powers that be know things that the average person doesn't know. They tell you that aliens and UFOs and God doesn't exist. But behind closed doors, they know full well they exist, and they're taking precautions to prepare for such things. You ever thought why are we talking about um all these weapons and nukes again? You ever wonder why they're talking about that? Talking about for a reason. Because now the system is fearing its own life. So they're trying to do what they can now to protect themselves. So now you have Satan divided against himself. All right. And that's what's going on right now. That's why North Korea is threatening. That's why Russia is threatening. That's why the USA is threatening everybody else. You have all these players now coming in and threatening each other because they know that time is short and they want to have the upper hand over the other person. It's almost like The Walking Dead. You know, now the show is not so much about the zombies anymore. It's now about the survivors and their different groups and factions warring with each other, not for supremacy, but for survival. Because the person that has the most resources is the one that's going to survive. That's what it's about, folks. It's not about power, it's about survival. So the nations of the earth are afraid for their survival, folks. because of what's coming. I want that to marinate for you for a minute. They know
Bingo.
the time is short. Let me tell you something. The threat is really not thermonuclear war, folks, or World War III. That's not the greatest threat. Neither is the greatest threat some new plague or virus. That's not the greatest threat either, folks. So it's not war. It's not a virus. It's not, food and famine. It's none of that. It's not financial collapse. Those things, yes, they are bad, but those are not the ultimate fear. There's another secret that the nations of the earth know that you don't know, and no, it's not Planet X. Planet X, folks, you know what Planet X really is? Planet X is a code. It's code word among the powerful elite. They know Planet X is coming, but not Planet X like you think of Planet X. Planet X is not a planet, folks. Think of it as an acronym. They know something that you don't know. Would you like for me to tell you what it is?
Go for it.
I'll tell you. They know that the universe is dying. Our universe is dying. And it is going to come upon us like a thief in the night. And it's going to start to crumble and collapse around us. And they are shook. That's why they're talking about traveling to other planets and things of that nature. They're thinking that if they can just get off this rock, they'll be okay. But they won't be. And they know that too. They are shook. Because the universe, they've always known that we lived in a fallen universe. They know that the universe is already starting to show signs of collapse, folks. Just the other day, they talked about some planet or something that just went supernova. Did you guys hear about that? And they said, oh, yeah,
Yep.
you can see it. Yeah, see. Have you ever seen them post that on TV before like that? No.
Not usually, no.
No,
Nope.
you have not. Because they're starting to fear, folks. I'm telling you. And why do you think they've been pushing the whole global warming thing too? They shook. It's not about global warming, folks. They know the earth is moaning and groaning as well, and it's getting worse, and they know it. It has nothing to do with man-made global warming. The earth, the planet is dying, and so is the universe, and they know it's going to start collapsing. That's what they are afraid of. They do not want you to know this. Why do you think back in 2010 they were talking about deep underground bunkers and all this stuff? People trying to build bunkers. It wasn't building bunkers because they were afraid of nuclear war. No, that's not what that bunker was ever for. It's for the collapsing universe that they are afraid of. Man is afraid of his own shadow right now. He's afraid of everything. Nations are afraid of other nations. Neighbors are afraid of neighbors. Everybody's afraid of ISIS and Antifa, Anifa, and Bonita Applebon and everybody in between. All right. So they know that we are moving forward to a great, what's the word I'm looking for here? Grand finale, if you will. And I'll tell you one last thing. I'll end it with this. They're pushing for their Messiah to come into play. And that's going to be the next thing, not so far in the distant future, to come into play. And that's their Messiah. Remember, ISIS has a Messiah too. Those that are on the fringes of the Islamic faith, not the historical Islamic faith, but the fringes of the Islamic faith, they believe in their great Mahdi, which is coming back. All right. Now, I'll end it with this. Their great Mahdi, or Mahdi, how you want to pronounce it, is the book of Revelation. And now go marinate and let that and research that and see what you come up with.
Excellent. Dex, want to thank you for a great show today. It was a lot of fun. You want to plug your site and your excellent work for us, please?
Yes, postwavetrading.com right now running a 7-day free trial. So this is going to be for a limited time. All you have to do is mention that you heard of it on the Rogue Money Show, and you will get that 7-day free trial, folks. Postwavetrading.com.
Excellent. And I'm CJ, and V is busy. He'll be back next week for next week's show. I'm going to get him to commit to it. We just have a lot going on at Rogue. Again, we're trying to stay busy. Lots of exciting things going on. So stay tuned. Please make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you have not done so yet, go to our website, roguemoney.net. Put your email in there. You'll get some notifications on some upcoming things as well. So want to thank all of our fans, our listeners for listening in. This is CJ and Dex, and we are over and out.
Peace.
Great show, bro.
Yes,
We
it
rock
was.